I have this recurring moment, and I don't know if this happens to you, but it usually happens when I'm traveling.
Okay.
I'll wake up in a hotel room, and it's pitch black, dead silent. And for about 5 seconds, my brain just, it misfires.
Right.
I don't know where the door is. I don't know what city I'm in. I don't even know what time it is.
It's total disorientation. Your internal GPS is just spinning, looking for a signal.
Exactly. It's a visceral panic. You're scrambling for anything, a glowing alarm clock, a crack of light under the door, just something to tell you, you are here. This is reality.
That's a very primal human experience. I mean, we aren't wired for the void. We need reference points.
And I've been thinking about that feeling a lot lately, not just about hotel rooms, but regarding, well, everything.
Yeah.
It feels like we are living through a cultural moment that is essentially that pitch black hotel room. There is this thick, heavy...
The fog of relativism.
Right. But it's not just an academic term, is it? It's a feeling. It's the anxiety of waking up and asking, what is actually true? Who is God really? Is he even there?
And because the fog is so thick, we do what you do in that hotel room.
We grab whatever is within reach.
We grasp for anchors.
We do. But the anchors are flimsy. We grab a bumper sticker slogan we saw in traffic.
Oh, yeah.
We grab a half-remembered Sunday school lesson from when we were 7. We grab a lyric from a pop song or a viral TikTok theology video.
Right.
And we try to stitch these random scraps together to make a worldview.
That is a perfect description of the patchwork theology we see so often today. It's a collage.
It's a collage.
And the problem with the collage is that it usually ends up looking exactly like the artist. If you build a god from your own scraps, the god tends to look suspiciously like you.
Or worse, he looks like your current mood. If I'm having a great day, God is this benevolent, cosmic grandfather who just wants me to be happy. If I'm feeling guilty or ashamed, suddenly he shifts into this angry policeman.
It's unstable.
It's exhausting. It's like trying to navigate a ship by looking at the waves crashing over the bow instead of looking at the stars. The reference point keeps moving.
And that's why we're here today. We aren't here to, critique the waves. We're here to look for the stars.
That's the mission of this deep dive. We've got a stack of sources here: philosophy, theology, ancient manuscripts. And honestly, when I first looked at them, I thought, okay, this is going to be dry.
I get that.
But the more I read, the more I realize this isn't a lecture. It's a rescue mission. It's someone handing you a compass in the middle of that fog.
It really is. And it's important to say right off the bat, this isn't a new map. We are inventing a cool new spiritual framework for the 21st century.
Not at all.
We are dusting off a very old map, a framework that claims to cut through the confusion, not by giving us more rules to follow, but by showing us the architecture of reality itself.
And it all boils down to 3 words. 3 incredibly simple words that, I'll be honest, sounded a little bit like a Hallmark card when I first saw them grouped together.
I know the ones.
Love, life, and light.
Love, life, and light. It does sound a bit like the title of a self-help book you'd find at an airport kiosk.
Or something embroidered on a throw pillow in a rental cottage. Live, laugh, love. Right.
Exactly.
But the claim here is massive.
Yeah.
The sources argue that these aren't just poetic fluff or warm fuzzies. The claim is that these 3 words are the structural beams holding the universe together.
We're talking about ontology here. That's a $10 word for being, or what is real at the foundational level.
Right.
The argument is that God is love isn't just a sentiment about God's personality like saying God is nice. It's a description of the bedrock of existence.
So if we're drifting in that fog, looking for an anchor, this framework suggests the anchor has 3 prongs.
Love, life, and light.
And the promise, which is a big one, is that if we can wrap our heads around these 3, we don't just understand God better, we understand everything better.
Everything.
We understand why we exist, why we can think, and why we feel things.
It's a shortcut to being well-informed about reality. Instead of memorizing 1,000 isolated facts, you understand the system that generates the facts.
Okay, let's unpack this, and I want to be clear to anyone listening. We aren't gurus on a mountain. Think of us as fellow pilgrims.
Absolutely.
We're holding this old map, scratching our heads, and trying to figure out the path together. We're going to look at God in himself, which sounds intimidating but is actually beautiful. Then we'll look at God acting toward us. And finally, and this is the part I really want to get to, what it looks like to actually live this out on a Tuesday morning when you're late for work.
It's a journey from the high heavens right down to your kitchen table.
So let's start with the framework itself. Why these 3 words? Why not power, justice, and glory? Those sound more, godlike.
They do. They sound very grand.
Yeah. Why love, life, and light?
It's fascinating because this triad isn't random. If you look at the history of human thought philosophy, metaphysics, human beings have been asking 3 primitive questions since we learned to speak.
Primitive questions?
Yeah, they're irreducible questions. You can't really get behind them.
Give me the first one.
Question 1 is the mystery of existence. Why does anything exist at all? The big one. The biggest. Why is there something rather than nothing?
The question of being.
Right. Why isn't there just a blank void? That question maps directly to life.
Okay, but life here isn't just breathing.
Right. Not at all.
Yep.
It doesn't just mean biological breathing. It means the source of being. The vitality, the isness that makes a rock, and a star a star. It's the power of actuality.
Okay, I'm with you. Something exists. But just because something exists doesn't mean it makes sense.
Exactly.
You could have a universe that exists but is just chaotic noise.
And that leads directly to the second primitive question. Why is the world understandable? Why does math work?
Yeah,
Why can we use logic to predict where a planet will be in 10 years? Why is there structure and truth?
That's the question of intelligibility.
Yeah.
And that maps to light.
Light is what makes things visible. In philosophy, light represents truth, reason, wisdom, structure. It's the reason the universe isn't just a blob of static. It has an order. It's knowable.
Okay, that makes sense. So we have existence, which is life, and order, which is light. And the third question.
The third question is the one that keeps us up at night.
The human one.
The very human one. Why do we care about good and evil? Why does it feel like there is a purpose or a should to the universe? Why are we relational beings who crave connection and meaning?
And that maps to love.
Precisely. Love is relational perfection. It's the why behind the what. It's the moral and teleological core of reality, the purpose of it all.
So the argument is that these 3, life, light, and love, are like the primary colors of reality.
That's a great way to put it.
If you remove one, the picture doesn't just change, the picture is destroyed.
Let's play that out. Imagine a universe where you have life, so things exist, and you have light, so there's structure and math. But no love. What do you have?
You have a machine.
Correct. You have a cold mechanical clockwork universe. You have physics. You have atoms swirling in perfect mathematical patterns. But there is no purpose.
There's no good or evil, no joy.
No joy. It's a computer running a program with no user. Just a cosmic calculation happening in a void.
That's a chilling thought. Okay, flip it. What if you have life, so existence and love, so there's passion and emotion, but no light, no structure?
Then you have chaos. Complete and utter chaos. You have intense feelings, maybe even existence, but no way to understand them.
A fever dream.
It's a fever dream. No truth. No logic. It's a nightmare of confusion where nothing makes sense and you can't tell up from down.
And obviously, if you have no life.
You have the void, nothingness.
Yeah.
So, do you see, these 3 aren't just nice attributes we pin onto God like badges.
No.
They're the explanatory primitives of reality. The universe is the way it is, alive, understandable, and relational, because its creator is life, light, and love.
That is a massive aha moment.
It
reframes everything. It means we aren't just projecting.
Yeah.
But I have to play the skeptic here.
Please do.
Because I can hear a listener, or maybe just the cynical part of my own brain, saying, okay, that's elegant, it fits together nicely, but isn't this still just projection? We are alive, so we imagine a God who is life. We feel love, so we imagine a God who is love. Maybe the universe is just a cold machine and we're just painting a happy face on it to make ourselves feel better.
That's the classic Feuerbachian critique, the idea that God is just a magnified human projected onto the sky. It's a powerful objection.
So how do you answer it?
Well, the source material addresses this head-on with what it calls the analytic response.
Yeah.
And it basically flips the table on that objection.
How so?
It asks the skeptic to seriously consider the alternative. If reality at its absolute core is non-personal, if the foundation of everything is just impersonal energy or quantum foam or some kind of cosmic soup,
okay,
then how do you explain us?
You mean, how do you get someone from something?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You cannot get personhood from non-personhood. You cannot get morality from atoms. If the foundation is impersonal, then human love, human morality, our sense of justice, our very consciousness, what are they?
They're accidents.
They're accidents. They are beautiful, elaborate illusions of chemistry that helped our genes survive.
So my love for my kids is just a firing of neurons that helped my ancestors protect their offspring. It's not real in any transcendent sense.
Right. In that worldview, love is a useful lie, a trick of biology.
Yeah.
But if we intuit that personhood is real, if we believe deep down that love is actually the highest reality and not just a biological trick,
which I think most of us do,
then the ground of reality must be personal. The source has to be at least as complex and personal as the result.
So we aren't saying God is like love, metaphorically. We're saying that love, as in the perfect relational willing of the good, is more fundamental than gravity.
Yes. Gravity is a created law within the universe. Love is the nature of the one who created the universe.
I want to push on one more difficult concept before we move on, because this one can be a real roadblock. The sources mention divine simplicity.
Ah, yes.
And frankly, that sounds like a contradiction. We just said God is three things: love, life, and light. How can he be simple? Doesn't that make him complex, like a Swiss Army knife with 3 different tools?
It's a deep philosophical point, and it trips a lot of people up. But the analogy used in the text is brilliant. Think of white light.
Okay, a beam of pure white sunlight.
Is that beam made of parts? Are there, little red bricks and blue bricks and green bricks all glued together to make the beam?
No. As far as I understand physics, it's one pure wave. It's simple.
Exactly. It is simple. It is one thing. But when that white light hits a prism or a raindrop, what happens?
It refracts. It breaks open into the spectrum. You see red, orange, yellow, green, blue.
Right. Now, here is the key question. Is the red separate from the white light? Is it a different ingredient that was hiding inside?
No, it is the white light. It's just how my eye perceives the white light when it's bent in a certain way.
Precisely. That is divine simplicity. God is one infinite, simple essence. He isn't made of parts. He isn't 33% love, 33% life, and 33% light.
He's all of them, all the time.
He is 100% of all of them simultaneously. But when he reveals himself to us, finite creatures with limited brains, we apprehend that single glory in distinct ways.
So when I see God saving a sinner, my brain registers it and I say, that's love. When I see him creating a galaxy, I say, that's life. But in him, it's all one seamless, simple motion.
Exactly. They aren't parts of God. They are God, seen through the prism of his revelation to us.
That helps. It really does. It keeps us from chopping God up into manageable pieces. But this leads us to what I think is the most beautiful part of this section: the ontological trinity.
God in himself, before creation.
Yeah. And this answers a question that used to bug me as a kid. If God is love, who was he loving before he made the world?
That is the million-dollar question. It's the question that unravels so many other views of God.
Because if God was just one person, a monad, singular and alone for all of eternity past,
then he couldn't be love, not in action, not in his essence.
He could only love himself.
Right. And that's self-love. It's narcissism. Or, at best, he has the potential to love, but he needs a partner.
He's incomplete.
And this is the trap of the non-Trinitarian view. If God is a single person and he wants to love, he must create the world.
He's lonely.
He's lonely and he's needy. He needs us. We become his emotional support animals. He creates humans so he has someone to adore him and complete him.
That's a pathetic God.
It is. That's a needy God.
But the Christian view, the Trinity, flips this completely upside down.
Completely. The biblical view says that before a single atom was created, before time began, God was already a community. He was already a society of love.
The Father, the Son, and the Spirit.
And they were not just sitting in silence next to each other. They were an event of eternal love.
An event? I like that.
The source uses this fountain imagery, which I love. The Father is the eternal source or fountain of life. He is unoriginated, and he is eternally pouring out his entire being, his entire glory.
And he pours it into the Son.
Into the Son. The Son is the eternal expression, the Logos. He receives that life and reflects it back in perfect praise and acknowledgement and love. He is the light that makes the Father known.
And the Spirit.
The Spirit is the bond. The Spirit is the love itself. He is the personal connection, the joy, the communion that flows between the Father and the Son.
So do you see the difference? God didn't create the world because he was lonely.
He was already having the greatest party in existence. He was infinitely happy, infinitely fulfilled.
So why do it? Why create?
He created the world not to get love, but to share it. His love was so full, so overflowing, that it burst the banks of the divine life and created a universe just to splash onto us.
That changes everything about how you relate to God.
Everything.
It means I'm not here to fill a hole in God's heart. I'm here to get wet in the overflow of his joy.
That's it.
It's the difference between a boss who needs you to make him look good and a host who invites you to a banquet because there's just too much food to eat alone.
That's it. That's the why. God is a social being in himself. Love isn't something he does occasionally. It's who he is eternally.
So just to map this quickly before we move on, we can see the triad in the persons, just to make it concrete.
Yes, with that nuance about simplicity we mentioned, the Father is the source he maps most clearly to life, the fountain.
Right.
The Son is the logos, the word he maps to light, the perfect expression of the Father.
Okay.
And the Spirit is the fellowship, the communion he maps to love, the bond.
It's beautiful, it's harmonious, it's perfect, but, and here comes the hard turn. We have to look away from the light for a second, because if I look out my window right now, or I turn on the news, or honestly, if I just look in the mirror, I don't see perfection.
You see brokenness.
I see war, I see cancer wards, I see betrayal, I see darkness. So we have to talk about the danger zone. We have to talk about the problem of evil.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
And the source material puts up a giant warning sign here. It calls this the nuclear level objection.
It really is. The question goes something like this. We just said God is full of glory and he reveals that glory to us. We know from Scripture that God reveals his mercy by forgiving sin. So
dangerous deduction comes next.
Did God need sin to exist? Did he orchestrate evil just so he could show off his mercy?
That is the dangerous deduction. If God needs to be a savior to be fully glorious, then he needs a victim and a villain.
It makes God the author of evil. It makes him a playwright who writes a tragedy full of rape and murder and suffering just so he can walk on stage in Act 3 and look like a hero.
And if that's true, God is a monster. He's a moral monster.
So how do we escape that? How does the source material navigate this without denying God's sovereignty or denying the reality of evil? It feels like an impossible needle to thread.
It's incredibly difficult. We have to make a very careful surgical distinction between what is metaphysically necessary and what is historically permitted.
Okay, those are big words. Break them down for me.
God is eternally perfect without creation. He is perfect without us. He is perfect without sin. His attributes like mercy, grace, patience are eternally real in his heart. He has always been a merciful kind of being.
So the capacity for mercy was always there within the Trinity, even if there was no one outside to be merciful to.
Exactly. Think of it this way. Think of a man who is incredibly brave. That's his character. He is sitting in his living room, reading a book, sipping tea. Is he brave in that moment?
Yes, if that's his character. He still has the quality of bravery.
Right. Does he need a burning building to be brave?
No, but he needs the burning building to show me that he's brave.
Bingo, that's the distinction. God doesn't need evil to be glorious. His glory is complete in himself. But the historical theater of a fallen world permits those attributes to be displayed to us in a way we can understand.
So evil isn't a battery that powers God's glory. It's a dark backdrop.
It's the black velvet that makes the diamond of his grace visible. But we have to be so careful here too.
Oh, so.
When we say backdrop, it makes evil sound passive or even necessary.
Yeah.
But for anyone listening who has suffered, who has lost a child, who has been abused, evil doesn't feel like a backdrop.
No, it feels like an attacker. It feels aggressive. It hurts.
It does. And the source handles this with the privation argument, which is ancient but difficult. It argues that evil is not a thing in itself. It has no ontology. It has no being.
Wait, hang on. Cancer is a thing. A gun is a thing. That feels like a real thing.
Let's take the gun. A gun is a thing made of metal. That's a good created substance. The chemistry of gunpowder, that's a good created reality. The hand pulling the trigger, that's a good biological structure created by God. The evil is the perversion, the twisting, the misuse of those good things.
So evil is a lack.
It's a lack. It's a twisting. It's a corruption of good. Think of it like rust.
Okay.
Rust is real, right? It destroys cars. But it isn't a substance you can buy. You can't go to the store and buy a bag of pure rust.
Right.
Rust is what happens to good iron when it corrupts and breaks down. You can have iron without rust, but you cannot have rust without iron to feed on.
Or a cavity in a tooth. The cavity is real. It hurts like crazy, but it's defined by the missing tooth, the absence of healthy enamel.
Right. Evil is a parasite. It can only exist by chewing on something God made good. Darkness is just the absence of light. Cold is the absence of heat.
That's actually deeply humbling. It means evil has no creative power.
None.
Satan cannot create anything. He can only vandalize what God creates.
It puts evil in its place. It's not a rival God fighting the good God on equal footing, like in Star Wars. It's a pathetic, parasitic rebellion that God is permitting for a season, using it for his own glorious redemptive purposes, but it has no future. It has no life of its own.
So we've looked at the high peaks of ontology, who God is. We've looked into the abyss of evil. Now let's talk about the river. How does this love, life, and light actually reach us? because it feels far away sometimes.
This brings us to the economic trinity.
Okay, again, we aren't talking about inflation or interest rates here.
No.
Yeah.
No. Economy comes from the Greek word oikonomia. It means household management.
How God runs his house.
Exactly. It's about the roles the persons of the Trinity play in the history of our salvation.
And there's a formula in the source, a kind of grammatical rule for the gospel. From the Father, through the Son, by the Spirit.
This pattern is the grammar of the gospel. It's everywhere in Scripture. The Father is the architect. He purposes, he plans the rescue, he initiates it out of love.
From the Father.
The Son is the hero. He accomplishes it. He steps into history, takes on flesh, dies on the cross, rises from the dead.
For the Son.
And the Spirit is the applier. He brings the work of the Son into our actual hearts, makes it real for us.
By the Spirit. The source uses a symphony analogy here, which I think is really helpful.
Yes. Imagine a masterpiece symphony. The Father is the composer. The music exists in his mind perfectly before a single note is ever played.
Okay. Complete and perfect.
The Son is the virtuoso performer. He goes out on stage and executes the music flawlessly. He strikes the keys. He makes the sound waves real in history. He performs the work.
What if I'm sitting in the audience and I'm deaf? Or if I'm not even in the concert hall, I'm at home, dead asleep?
Then the performance does nothing for you. That's where the Spirit comes in.
Yeah.
The Spirit is the acoustic resonance. He's the one who opens your ears. He brings you into the hall. He makes the music vibrate in your chest.
He makes it personal.
He takes the objective reality of the performance and makes it a subjective reality in your soul.
That connects to the order of salvation described in the text. And I want to slow down here because this list, calling, regeneration, justification, it can feel like a dry textbook list.
It can, yeah.
But it's actually a story. It's the story of how God pursues a specific person. You.
Let's walk through it as a narrative. It starts with the call.
This is the from the Father part.
Yes. Before you were born, before you ever had a thought about God, the Father whispered your name in eternity. It's the initiative of love. But the problem is, you can't hear him because, as we said, in our natural state, we are in a spiritual graveyard.
The source is pretty blunt here. It says we aren't sick, we are dead in sin.
We're spiritually dead, and dead people don't grab life preservers. Dead people don't decide to get better.
No.
So the first thing that has to happen is regeneration. This is the Spirit's work.
The Spirit walking into the graveyard.
In saying live. It's the same power that raised Jesus from the dead. And this is so crucial. Christianity isn't about bad people becoming good people through moral effort.
No.
It's about dead people becoming alive people through a miracle.
I love that distinction. You can train a bad dog to behave. You can't train a corpse to dance.
Exactly. So the Spirit gives you life. That's regeneration. And suddenly, for the first time, you see the light. You see your sin for what it is, and you see Christ for who he is, and you run to him.
And that leads to justification. This is the courtroom scene.
You stand before the judge of the universe. You are guilty. You know it. The evidence is overwhelming. But because of what the Son accomplished, through the Son part, the judge slams the gavel down.
And he doesn't just say, not guilty.
Oh, that's so important. If he just said, not guilty, you'd be free to go, but you'd be a homeless vagrant with no status, no family.
Yeah.
Instead, he says righteous.
Righteous.
He credits the perfect life of the Son to your account. You have the status of the Prince of Heaven.
But then, and this is my favorite part, the judge stands up, he takes off the robes, he steps down from the bench.
This is adoption. The legal proceeding is over, and the relational reality begins. He walks over to you and says, welcome home. You aren't just a cleared citizen, you are a son or daughter. That brings us back to love.
So we have life, which is regeneration. We have light, which is justification, the truth of our status. And we have love, which is adoption into the family. It's the triad again.
It's always the triad. It's the architecture of everything he does.
But the story doesn't end there.
Yeah.
Because then you have to leave the courtroom and go back to your life.
Right.
You have to go to work. You have to deal with your annoying neighbor. This is sanctification.
The slow, messy, uneven process of actually becoming, in practice, who you are already declared to be in status.
And this is where I want to spend some time. Because I think this is where most of us live. We believe the theology, but our Tuesday morning feels disconnected from it. The source uses the mirror and the walk imagery. Let's talk about the mirror first.
The mirror is the law, the 10 Commandments, all the rules in the Bible.
And a lot of us view the law as a ladder. We think, if I climb this, if I'm good enough, if I don't lie, if I tithe, then I'll get to God.
We think it's a tool for self-improvement. But the source says the law is a mirror. Imagine you've been working in a coal mine all day. You are covered in soot. You walk into a bathroom with bright, harsh fluorescent lights.
The light again.
The light again. You look in the mirror. What does the mirror do?
It shows me the dirt. It shows me every single smudge. It's horrifying.
Right. Does the mirror clean you?
No.
Can you take the mirror off the wall and scrub your face with it?
Laugh you. I mean, you could try, but you just cut yourself up and make a bloody mess.
Exactly. That is what legalism is. It's trying to use the law to clean yourself. It just wounds you and condemns you. The mirror has one job: to show you how dirty you are and drive you to the shower.
The law reveals the need. Christ provides the cleansing.
That's it.
That is such a helpful distinction. The law diagnoses, Jesus cures. But once you've showered, once you're clean, you don't go back and roll in the coal dust. You get dressed and you walk.
And this is the walk. The source breaks this down into our 3 words again: walking in love, walking in life, and walking in light.
Let's get practical. Walking in love. The text says this isn't just about having warm feelings for people. It specifically talks about forgiveness.
There's a line in the source that I just love. Forgiveness is the aroma of the cross. Think of what that means practically. Walking in love means bearing burdens.
What does that look like in a marriage or at work with a difficult colleague?
It means when someone wrongs you, when they drop the ball, when they speak harshly, when they betray you, you have a choice. You can make them pay. You can hold a grudge. You can give them the cold shoulder. You can gossip about them. That's extracting payment.
That's justice. That's what feels fair.
That's human justice. But walking in love means you absorb the cost. You choose to cancel the debt. You refuse to make them pay. You swallow the insult.
That sounds incredibly painful and unfair.
It is. It's a form of suffering. But that's what Christ did for us on the cross. He absorbed the infinite cost of our sin. So when we forgive, we are walking in his scent. We smell like him.
Okay, that's hard. I don't think I can do that on my own. My default is to keep a ledger.
You can't. Nobody can. That's why you need the next one. Walking in life.
The source connects this to dependence, the vine and the branches.
Right. A lot of us treat Christianity like a battery pack. We go to church, we charge up on Sunday, and then we try to run on our own power until we drain out by Wednesday afternoon.
And then we wonder why we're exhausted and snapping at our kids.
Walking in life means acknowledging you have no battery. You are a branch. You have to stay connected to the tree every single minute to get the sap. It's moment-by-moment dependence.
There's a note here about fighting the flesh that I found really encouraging. It says, fighting proves you are alive. Dead things don't struggle.
Isn't that a relief? I find that so comforting.
It is.
If you are listening to this and you feel a constant internal battle, you want to do good, but you fail. You want to be patient, but you get angry. That struggle isn't a sign that you're a failure. It's a sign of life.
How so?
The current of the river of this world is flowing one way towards sin and self, and you are swimming against it. That proves you're alive. Dead fish just float downstream.
Man, I needed to hear that today.
Yeah.
Okay, the last one. Walking in light. This is about honesty.
Sin isolates, holiness connects. That's the principle here. When we sin, our instinct is the Garden of Eden instinct. Hide in the bushes. Cover it up. Curate the Instagram feed to look perfect.
We stay in the shadows, where no one can see the real us.
Walking in light means stepping out. It means confession. Not just to God in the privacy of your room, but to each other in trusted community.
That's terrifying. That feels like humiliation.
It does. But the source says confession isn't humiliation, it's healing. Think about a physical wound. If you get a deep gash and you just keep it covered with a dirty bandage, what happens?
It festers, it gets infected, gangrene.
It goes septic. The only way to heal it is to rip the bandage off, expose it to the light and air, clean it out, and apply medicine. It hurts to expose it, but that's the only path to healing.
So walking in light is basically refusing to live a double life. It's being the same person in the dark as you are in the light.
It's radical consistency. It's integrity.
We've covered the beginning, God before time. We've covered the middle, salvation, and the daily walk. Now we have to look at the horizon, the future, because the deep dive wouldn't be complete without looking at where this is all going.
This brings us to providence in the end.
Let's start with providence, because even if I'm walking in the light, trying my best, bad things happen, suffering happens, the fog rolls back in.
And providence is the doctrine that answers the question, is anyone steering this ship? Or are we just adrift on an uncaring ocean of chance?
And the answer from the source is the Father's hand.
The hand that holds.
Yeah.
It's the comfort of knowing that your story, even the painful chapters, the ones that make no sense, has never been adrift.
God governs the galaxies and the tears on your cheek. That's a massive range of care.
It is, and it directly addresses that feeling of distance. When we suffer, God feels far away. We pray, and it feels like the ceiling is made of brass.
It does.
But the doctrine of providence, and specifically the Spirit's work, says that God is often most active when he feels most absent.
Like a surgeon. Is that a good analogy?
It's a perfect analogy. If you're on the operating table, you don't feel the surgeon's love. You feel pain, or you're unconscious. He's cutting you. But every single movement of his hand is calculated to save your life. He is closest to you, doing the most delicate work exactly when you can't see his face.
Or a weaver. The source talks about the underside of a tapestry.
Right. We live on the underside of the tapestry of our lives. We look up and see a mess of knots, loose threads, jagged colors. It looks like chaos. It looks random and ugly.
Yes.
But on the top side, the weaver is creating a picture of Christ in us.
Yeah.
You just can't see the pattern yet.
And that pattern gets revealed at the end. The source takes a turn here toward the eschatological. That's the fancy word for end time.
It is.
And honestly, the tone shifts a bit here. It gets more urgent.
It does. It views the world not as a playground, but as a battlefield.
It uses the imagery of the lampstand.
This comes from the book of Revelation.
Yeah.
In a darkening age, which the source calls Babylon, the church is described as a lampstand.
Why a lampstand? Why not a sword or a fortress?
Because the primary weapon against darkness is light. In a dark room, a lamp isn't a decoration. It's not just for ambiance, it's a survival mechanism.
You need it to see.
The darker the culture gets, the more confused, the more foggy, the more essential it is for the people of God to just shine, to tell the truth, to live in love.
There's an urgency here. There is no neutral ground.
The source argues that history isn't a cycle, it's an arrow. It is racing toward a destination, and that destination is either judgment or glory. You're either moving toward the light or shrinking back into the darkness.
We shine until the sun himself rises. That's the hope, isn't it? We are little candles holding the line until the sunrise.
And when that sun rises, when Christ returns, the shadows flee for good. That's the horizon we are walking toward. The fog lifts permanently.
You know, we've covered a massive amount of ground, from the internal life of the Trinity to the mechanics of the cross to the end of the world.
We have.
But I keep coming back to that image of the fog we started with.
The confusion, the disorientation.
Yeah, and I feel like this framework, love, life, light, it really is an anchor. It simplifies things without dumbing them down.
It gives you a diagnostic tool. When you're confused about a decision or a cultural movement or even a feeling in your own heart, you can hold it up to the triad.
How so?
Does this lead to life or death? Is it consistent with love, or is it selfish and isolating? Is it honest like the light, or does it require shadows and secrets to exist?
It's so practical, but there's a solemn note in the source material that we need to hit before we close. It references Jonathan Edwards in The Thread.
The famous spider imagery, it's intense.
It is. It's the idea that the person who ignores this reality, who wants the life but not the giver, who wants the light but not the source, is hanging by a slender thread.
It's a jarring image, and it's meant to be. It says that the only reason any of us draw another breath right now, this second, is because of the mercy of the God we might be ignoring. We hang over the abyss of non-being. We are only held in existence by his patience.
That's the fog turning into a storm. It's a warning. Don't refuse the voice that speaks.
But, and this is so vital, the warning isn't there to scare you away. It's there to wake you up. It's the splash of cold water in your face so that you can see the invitation.
The door is still open.
That's the heartbeat of this entire message.
Yeah.
God is not hiding. The Father is not hoarding his life. The Son is not shielding his light. The Spirit is not withholding his love.
It's all offered.
It is given. It is poured out.
So if you're listening to this and you feel that fog, if you feel like you're in that dark hotel room, the invitation is to stop grabbing for bumper stickers. Reach for the triad.
Come to the Father, who is the source of love. Trust the Son, who is the giver of life. Walk by the Spirit, who is the guide into light.
It's not just a framework, is it, in the end?
No, it's a person. And he invites you near.